Have you ever thought about how normal a handshake feels? Two people meet, they smile, and their hands come together for a brief moment. It feels simple, friendly, and universal. But the handshake actually has a very old and fascinating history. Today, let's travel back in time and explore where this small but powerful gesture really came from. Historians believe that the handshake started thousands of years ago, long before modern civilization. In ancient times, people lived in constant fear of enemies, surprise attacks, and betrayal. When two strangers met, the first thing they needed to prove was that they were not a threat. So, what was the best way to show peaceful intentions? They extended their right hand, open and empty. An empty hand meant you were not holding a weapon. It was a silent message: I come in peace. There are even ancient carvings and artwork that show people shaking hands. One of the earliest examples comes from ancient Greece, around the 5th century BC. In Greek culture, the handshake was a symbol of trust, respect, and equality. Leaders, warriors, and even gods were shown shaking hands in stone carvings. It wasn't just a greeting, it represented an agreement, a promise, or a bond between people. In ancient Rome, the handshake took on another meaning. Romans used a special kind of handshake called the grasp of the forearms. Instead of just holding hands, they would grip each other's arms. This served two purposes. First, it was a sign of loyalty and respect. Second, it helped ensure that the other person wasn't hiding a dagger up their sleeve. Again, safety and trust were at the center of the gesture. As time passed, the handshake spread across cultures. During the Middle Ages in Europe, knights and soldiers also used similar gestures to show peaceful intentions. When they lifted the visors of their helmets or raised their right hand, it signaled honesty and respect. Slowly, this tradition evolved into the familiar handshake we know today. Interestingly, the handshake became especially popular in Western culture because of the Quakers, a religious group in the 17th century. Unlike other groups who bowed or used elaborate greetings, the Quakers believed in equality. They preferred a simple handshake to show that everyone was equal, no one higher or lower than the other. This helped establish the handshake as a respectful and humble greeting. Over time, the handshake transformed from a symbol of safety into a universal gesture of connection. We use it when we meet someone new. We use it to congratulate, to close business deals, to show respect, or to celebrate agreements. A handshake can say, "Nice to meet you," "I respect you," or "We have a deal," all without speaking a single word. But the handshake is more than just movement. Psychologists say it builds trust. A firm but friendly handshake can create a strong first impression. It shows confidence, honesty, and warmth. In many cultures, a handshake marks the beginning of a relationship, whether personal, professional, or social. Of course, not every culture uses handshakes in the same way. Some cultures prefer bows, nods, or placing hands together. And during the recent global pandemic, handshakes temporarily disappeared for safety reasons. Fist bumps, elbow touches, and simple waves replaced it. But even then, people felt the absence of handshakes. That shows how deeply rooted this gesture is in human connection. So, when you think about it, a handshake is more than just two hands touching. It carries history. It carries meaning. It carries the story of human trust, respect, and unity. From ancient warriors proving they carried no weapons to modern professionals closing million-dollar deals, the handshake has remained a symbol of peace and partnership. Next time you shake someone's hand, pause for a second. Behind that small gesture lies thousands of years of human history, a story of survival, trust, respect, equality, and connection. A story that reminds us that even the simplest actions can have powerful origins.